Hey everyone, it's Sherry from Trail Wisdom Weekly, and this is about real talk for everyday runners, walkers, and hikers who want to do the long game. Now, that may or may not be the long game as the length of the race, it's a long game as in life. And me, I'm Sherry Donahue. I'm a master's ultra runner, and yeah, I've longest distance I've gone is 132 kilometers. So, and I'm also an ultra run coach as well too. So this week, I am doing a topic that was really on the hot spot last week, and that was the Nike billboard at their Newark store for the Boston Marathon. So I decided to wait a little bit just to let things calm down. And yeah, let's just talk about that. So basically, Boston Marathon was last week, and Nike decided to put a billboard in their Newark window that said "Runners welcome, walkers tolerated." Okay, that got backlash a lot, and from a lot of different places. Now, within about 24 hours, that billboard was gone. It was out of the store. It had a lot of backlash. But where it didn't go away was social media and Instagram, Facebook, probably TikTok, and definitely on YouTube. It was alive and well. Now, this is one thing I have to ask for the Nike marketing department. What was your goal for putting out that billboard? What was it? If it was to get attention, nailed it. Now, you also did something else. You also did something else, and this is what we're going to talk about in today's show. So let's go into the Boston Marathon. And the Boston Marathon, it is, for people that don't know, it has been a huge, huge event, and it retracts, and it's a qualifier. You can't just walk in, here's here's my money, I enter. You either have to earn your way by a charity bib or qualify for it. And for me, I think I probably qualified when I'm about 112 years old, because for my age group, it would be probably about a 4 hour, 20-minute marathon. Let's just say I'm not there. However, yeah, but it's an event to watch. It really is an event. And the who's who in the marathon running from all sorts of countries all over the world, they run and they compete because to win Boston, that's huge, huge. And do these top 10 runners um, deserve all accolades that they get? Absolutely. Absolutely. The winners, podiums, the top tens, absolutely. That defines the who's who, the elites of running. But there's one other thing that I really wish the sports commentators would clue into. There's about 39,000 people behind. And what happens there? That's that's the thing. And on social media, there happened to be the lady that posted, she took a picture of this billboard and put it on her in social media. And some of the comments they received were really rude. They were really rude and unwarranted. So, this is for you, the walkers. I am putting light to this as to running is welcome. Absolutely. Running is welcome. So is walking. So is shuffling. And so is any way you go forward. So let's get into it. So in response to Nike, Ultra Running went and put up their own social media post, and it said, "Runners welcome, so are walkers, hikers. Doesn't matter the pace. Just join in and have fun." I gotta like Ultra. I really do. I like them for more than one reason. They're also my running shoe. I've been an ambassador with Ultra for years, and they work for me. I like them. Now, there was also, something that happened on the course in Boston that really I wish it's on YouTube, but I really wish it got more attention than this. And that was a runner, collapsed 400 yards before the finish line. Now, Boston is not an easy course. It's not a flat course. There's a thing called Heartbreak Hill before the finish line, and if Boston's hot, it's nasty. But This runner collapsed 400 yards before the finish line. So what happened? He went down, but you know what? Two runners that were behind him scooped him up and they all crossed the finish line. There's humanity. There's humanity. And you know what? These stories need to be put to the forefront as well too, because Boston isn't only a race for the elites, it's a race for 40,000 people. And what happens on the course is much, much more than a race. The race happens, yeah. The race happens, and I would say race happens for the front, but for the rest, it's an event. They've worked hard to get there. They really have. And, I'm going to say one thing, walking is legit, legit. And, if you've had anybody say to you, well, if you walk, that just not, you're less than. Really? No. And did you know that walking is an Olympic sport? Hmm. Walking is an Olympic sport. It's called race walking. It is a 20-mile event. And for those of us who are in the kilometers, that's a 36-kilometer little stroll. It's not a little stroll. Now, here's the deal. Here's the thing. What's the difference between race walking and running? Actually, a lot. Race walking is actually much more kind on the joints, but it's tough when it comes to technique. And it's a very much, you have to be in technique to be in race walking. You have to have one foot on the ground at all time. There's no flying here. There's no flying in the air with race walking. It is a very technique demanding sport. And here's the deal. When anyone who says, yeah, well, yeah, if you just walked it. Do you have any idea how fast these race walkers go? They do 6-minute miles for the men and 6:25 for the women's. 6 minutes per mile is a 3.73 minutes per kilometer. I don't know about you, but that's a heck of a lot faster than I can run, especially for that distance. So think about it. Do these people belong? Oh, yeah. Like, I'd like to see people try race walking. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. So, you know what? Walking is legit. It is an Olympic sport. So if anybody who says, if you walked, you don't deserve to be on the course, ignore them. Ignore them. They don't have validity. I just gave you validity. Walking is, especially race walking, it's an Olympic event. Now, there's another person who actually made a statement about this, and his name is Tommy Rivs. I don't know if you heard about him, but I'm going to tell you about him. Tommy is one of the iFit coaches, and there's a story to Tommy. And Tommy is, well, he's about 6'1", 6'2". In 2017, after he submitted his dissertation for his PhD in kinesiology, he ran the race of his life at Boston. He came in 16th place at a time of 2 hours and 18 minutes. That's flying. That's flying. And after that, he was stoked. And his brother Jacob came in 32nd, I think, with a time of 2:32, somewhere around that line. Translation, those brothers are fast. So Tommy at that point of time had Olympics. He had the Olympic dream. He had the Olympic dream and he was training for the Olympics. And one of his training runs, he looked behind to see where his teammates were, foot stepped in a pothole, and he injured his hamstring. So he recovered from that. Now, in the year of 2020, and I don't think I have to remind anybody what happened in the year of 2020, Tommy was diagnosed with NKT cell lymphoma. And that is, for anybody that doesn't know, NKT cell lymphoma is a rare form of lung cancer, and it's usually terminal. So here is this beautiful soul of a person. He's an amazing, amazing person. And I can say he's a beautiful soul because I've met him. In 2016, he was at Trans Rockies running events. I was at Finish Line Catering, and I made sure Tommy was set for the race the next day. And after the 6 days, and he won the event, and he was talking to me, he gave me his buckle as a thank you. Yeah. What a beautiful soul. What a beautiful soul. So fast forward, if you Tommy was in Boston. He is a cancer survivor. He's a cancer survivor, and cancer is no joke to recover from. It really isn't, especially if you're in a chemical induced coma. Because there's not only recovering from the disease, there's also the withdrawal from all the drugs you're on. And it takes time. And you know what? It takes a heck of a lot of spirit and determination and a hell of a lot of heart to recover from that. And Tommy did. He started with his walker, going to the bathroom, as in shuffling to the bathroom. He started. And little by little, he got better. He ended up walking New York Marathon in 9 hours. And you know what? Amazing, 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 amazing. And he returns to New York pretty much every year. And I believe this is his second time in Boston. He run walks Boston. Note the second word I just said. He run walks Boston. So for a comment of runners welcome walking tolerated, look who was just dissed. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. Oh, and what does Tommy do now? He's one of the coaches for iFit. Do you know how many people he inspires? How many people start running because of him? And here's this little poster going, yeah, walkers are tolerated. No, there's no place for that. And on the course, by the way, there's about 3,000 people around Tommy who are heckishly excited. They're taking photos of him. They're saying hi, and Tommy loves it. He really does. So, that's also what happens at Boston are the stories that are on the course. And in truth, that happens in a lot of the races. Like there's stories that are untold, and they really do need to be told. And, for the back of the pack, those of us at the back of the pack, and by the way, I roll the back of the pack. And, it's not because we're less than, that's where we are. That's where we are. And myself, yeah, I can run a 4-minute pace to that tree. I look at my build. I'm not built to run at a 4-minute pace. I'm just not. But do I have endurance? Absolutely. And I bet you do too. And here's another thing. Speaking of run walk, here's run walk. Run walk was invented by a guy by the name of Jeff Galloway. Anybody hear of him? Rest in peace, Jeff Galloway. But he brought a run walk method of where people can get started and progress safely into their running goals. Basically, walking is a gateway to running. It can be. And that method has been used by thousands and thousands of people to achieve goals that they never even thought possible. But here's the deal. Walking is also, if you're a trail and ultra runner, there's times you have to walk for 2 reasons. Number 1, the terrain demands it. And number 2, you're out there that long. Somebody who's out there for 100 milers or 250 miles or multi-day events, yeah, you're walking. You have to, because there's no way you can run it. Now, of course, Courtney DeWalter, I love this girl. Yeah, there's times she walks. She has to, because the climb is too steep, because the terrain is that whatever. So walking is essential. It really is. And there's no such thing as I'm only a walker. Remember I said race walking? And you know what? I have a 100-kilometer buckle because I power walked an event. I power walked in less than 21 hours. So when you look at walking, you get that walking part in there. It's amazing how far it can go. Now, here's the deal. Like we often hear about, get your base down, get your zone 2 down. Well, what if you got your walking really down? I mean that you have a good power walk to you. What would happen? What would happen? Because you know what? If you go into higher races, and I'm going to say higher races as in maybe half marathons, or you're going into trails and ultras, if you got your walking down, you're not slowing down that much because a run walk, think about it. If you got into a pace of where you're jogging, and jogging and running, same thing. You're not sprinting, like you could sprint at the end. But if you're doing a very solid, say for example, a very solid, comfortable pace jog, and then when you had to slow down, you slowed down enough that you were solid in the walk. Do you have any idea how much farther you'd go? Yeah. In ultra running, we call it the ultra shuffle. And it is, you're not slowing down to a schlep along walk. You are slowing down enough so that you are very much comfortable and you're still going. So this nonsense of walkers tolerated, that's nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. And here's the truth. When it comes down to it, you have to listen to your body. Forcing a run isn't worth it. It really isn't. And I have another story that I'll share. And, a lot of times movement changes over time. If you're injured and have to recover, even in a case of Tommy, and you're recovering from illness, it's a way to move forward. And, the whole thing is, well, does Tommy run? Yeah, he runs for a bit, but his lungs are basically crystal. So that's how he can do it now. And for anybody who's been injured or who's gone through changes in their life that are catastrophic, and walking is a way to keep your sanity and keep you moving forward, it's very much welcome. And it's not only welcome, it's a must. It's a must. So the whole thing is to respect all ways of moving forward. It doesn't matter. Walking, I love the quote by Dean Karnazes, run when you can, walk if you have to. Run when you can, walk if you have to, crawl if you must, just get across the line, just finish, just go for it. And that is what is the powerful statement. Now, here's the truth with anything. It doesn't matter how hard you train or not train or anything in the middle. Race day is race day, which is true. Because, I've seen Boston. I've not been there, but I've seen it watching on YouTube, is that race day is race day. There was one year, it was torrential downpour, and a fellow from Japan won it. So you don't know. You really don't know what happens on race day. And speaking of race day, I'm going to finish with a story. The athlete is the name of Derek Redmond. And I would say Google him search him on YouTube. Actually, Google and YouTube are the same company. So anyway, he was representing the U.S. in the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. He was in the 400s, the 400 meter. Before the event, he did have a hamstring issue, but he was going. He was going in. It was good to go. And during the semifinals, and then rounding the turn to the end, he tore his hamstring. He tore his hamstring. So now what? He refused to be carried off in the stretcher. He hobbled forward. He hobbled forward, and with determination and courage, despite the excruciating pain, he crossed the finish line with the help of his with the help of his father. He crossed. I don't know about you, but this gets it. Was he not tolerated? No. He got a standing ovation from 65,000 spectators. That's respect. And that is the respect, walkers. That's the respect you have, and that's the respect you deserve. So if you're out there running, walking, somewhere in between, you belong. You really do. And you know what? It's even more important is to find the peeps who accept you for what you're doing. And you know what? They're out there. They're out there waiting for you. So in the meantime, until next week, get out there, whether it's run, walk, hike, doesn't matter. Get out there, enjoy it, get some trail, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.